are the leading countries in the world. They are actually controlling the world economy. So US, the number one economy, Europeans, big bloc, European Union, and they are the largest trading partners of India. So India exported items to these countries. United Arab Emirates, of course, the Indians are very closely, they are aligned with these countries. Recently, you might have heard about a mandir in UAE when India came up with the UAE authorities announced that they are going to build a mandir in UAE in Dubai. So many people questioned it, many people criticized it, that see Indians are killing Kashmiris in Indian held Kashmir, and these Muslim countries like UAE, they are supporting India, and actually they are cultivating good ties with India. So let me tell you, in international relations, religion, caste, creed does not matter. It is only interest of the state that matters. So UAE and India, they are in deep economic ties, and both countries are interdependent on each other. So that's the reason these interests matters the most. Kashmir is not an issue for the UAE, and of course, it is not for the issue for the US or European Union. These countries mean their own business. China, both countries, India and China, recently they were in clash. The Chinese killed their 20 soldiers, but at the same time, both states are in close ties. Their economic partnership is close to $80 billion, and they are expecting that it may cross $100 billion in next few years. So then another export partner is Hong Kong, and these are the leading export partners. Now let's look at the imports. What items India import, and Indian imports are more than $609 billion, which is there is an imbalance in their export and import. So India import items like crude oil from the Persian Gulf and African countries and many other countries. Gold and precious stones, electronics, engineering goods, and all these items India import from other states. And their import partners are China, for example. Now, China and India, as I told you before, they had some issues at Doglam. They had some issues recently in over Ladakh, and they were, fighting against each other. Fist fights were there, and despite India and China, they were having some security concerns, but their economic ties are very good. So India's largest import partner is China, which is for 4.7%, and EU is at the second number. Saudi Arabia export oil to India, UAE same, and other countries are 57%. Now let's quickly look at the military strength of India. Military is also very important determinant to know about the foreign policy of a country. If you got a strong military force, your foreign policy would also be strong. Look at America, look at China, look at Russia. These countries, they have got strong military forces, so their foreign policy is also strong. And of course, they have strong economies, and that also impact on their foreign policy. So India is also one of the largest militaries in the world, and their total military size is about 1.3 million people. So it's a huge military. So with this military might, India is dominating in South Asian region, and they are trying to pursue aggressive doctrines, aggressive policies against Pakistan and other countries in the region. So especially if you look at the Indian Army, they are the largest force in this region in South Asia, which is 1.1 million. Then they have got a strong Air Force as well, which is 127,000 plus, and their Indian Navy is also big. So if you compare it with Pakistan, automatically you will come to know that Pakistani army is close to 600,000. Pakistani Air Force is a small scale Air Force, which is about 48,000 personnel, I think. And their Navy is also very small. Pakistan Navy is about 23 or 20,000 plus merchantmen and sailors, and the Indian Navy is much bigger than Pakistan Navy. So India's position in this region, if you look at the Indian deployment of their military, so if you will analyze that most of their military deployment is against Pakistan, which shows that Pakistan is facing this actually challenge. And India claimed that their enemy is China, but on China they have got only 2 mountain divisions. But on Pakistan they have got their most of their you can say military forces, security for their corps, they are deployed on Pakistan, especially this Chandigarh 2 Corps, which is a very important, you can say concentration of force, and 50% of Indian strike capability is there deployed in this corps. So Chandigarh, focused on Pakistan, is very important. So India's most of their security, their deployment course are against Pakistan, which obviously create anxiety in Pakistan. And if you look at their maritime deployment, they have got Western Naval Command in Mumbai, as I told you before. They got a Kochi, another command, Southern Command, which looks after the Indian Ocean region. It is also there. Then you've got a small scale other, bases like Karwar and Lakshadweep, and then you got Vishakhapatnam Command, which also hosts their nuclear submarines and other things. And India's islands, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they have also got a small scale command there. So basically, India is also dominating in the Indian Ocean region, but the Chinese are also trying to counter India in this region. For example, Chinese also got bases in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Coco Island, close to this particular area, as you can see, right? Then you got Sri Lanka. Chinese are also there in Sri Lanka, and of course in Pakistan, in Gwadar, Chinese are also there. So China and Pakistan, they are working collectively to counter the Indian hegemony in this region. Now, and let's quickly look at the security challenges to India. If you think as an Indian, you will analyze that India is facing multi-pronged security challenges. It is not just Kashmir, or it is not just any proxy war from Pakistan. Inside India, India is facing much serious challenges. Kashmir is not an issue for India. There are many other bigger challenges for India, which are there, and homegrown challenges, and they are much bigger than Kashmir and any other challenges which India is claiming that they are facing from Pakistan. The bigger challenge for India is homegrown militancy, the Indian Mujahideen, and they are actually posing serious challenge to the Indians. Why? Because the Muslims are being subjugated in India, and when you subjugate a population which is about 190 million, so automatically that population will react. And terrorism by Indian Mujahideen is actually the byproduct of the Indian hegemonic or Hindutva's atrocities against Muslims. Look at Malegaon, look at Samjhota Express attack, look at Gujarat riots and communal violence which is taking place, widely in India. They simply kill a person if that person is suspected of carrying a beef, for example. So such type of things are really disturbing for the Indian Muslims. So that is the reason that the Indian Muslims are reacting back, and they are actually carrying out small-scale terrorism against the Indian forces. Another bigger challenge for India is coming from the Naxal Baghi, for example, Naxal moist, militants, and these people are seriously challenging the writ of the Indian state. Since 1999, over 13,000 people have been killed in this violence, and their estimated strength is, close to 100,000. The Naxals. In Kashmir, India claimed that Kashmir is a security challenge for India. No, this is not a security challenge. In Kashmir, the strength of Mujahideen or freedom fighter is much smaller than the Naxal militants. Let me give you an example that more than 80,000 CPR PF has been deployed for anti-moist operations in Naxal affected states, but so far they are unable to overcome this threat. So look at the hotbeds of Indian Naxal affected states, for example. Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, all these areas are facing a serious threat of a Naxal threat, and these states are under severe influence or severe even influence of these particular groups. So moist militants, Naxal Baghi, जिसे वो कहते हैं, they are seriously challenging the writ of the Indian state. In 2006, Manmohan Singh, their former Prime Minister said this is the #1 threat to the Indian security. And India is seriously suffering actually to counter this particular threat, but their media is not showing all these things, and they are seriously trying to overcome this challenge, but they are still unable to overcome this challenge. So look at their highly affected areas. Their 60 states are seriously suffering from terrorism and extremism, and moderately affected are 53 and marginally affected are 79. So basically they are seriously facing all these challenges to their eastern side, and that is the biggest challenge to the Indian security in modern times. Okay, so let's stop here, and we'll continue from here tomorrow, inshallah. And because this is very important areas, and you need to work on them separately. So we'll continue from here tomorrow, inshallah. And if you got any question, you can ask now, please.